aspire to. And the value apparently of my 2012 Gold Pass, now I'm calling into question. But I really just wanted to get up here and just extend a welcome. Just by show of hands, we talked a little bit about the people who have been here quite a bit. By show of hands, how many of you, is this your first Insider Summit? So if we could just take a look around. So it's getting close to half, which is great. And that's part of what makes the energy of these summits really work, is that we have a mix of people who've kind of been around and started to build a community, and then new people who are coming in with new ideas and challenging kind of the status quo, frankly. One of the things that I walked away from the last Insider Summit in May was the distinct impression that email as a community had finally kind of grown through the awkward adolescent years. That we had gone through almost an identity of crisis, kind of a crisis in our identity for a while, as there was people bashing email and it's going to end and social media is going to take over the world and email is going to kind of fall by the wayside. And there was sort of this panic. And really in the past year have seen how we've seen that this just isn't true, that email is very strong at connecting people, it's easy, we can measure it, it's monetizable, it's impactful, and all of a sudden you saw the confidence of this group coming out as their management was frankly coming back to folks who had a long experience in email and saying, we see that you guys are driving results, and we want to help instill some of the discipline from the email marketing space to some of the other areas of marketing as well. And I saw that as a real sign of encouragement. And as we looked at programming this summit, that was really the drive, is to build on that theme. And to that end, there's two people who are here today from the programming committee who I want to just give a special recognition to. First is Eric Kirby, who's sitting at the back of the room there, from Connection Engine, who is the second time that he has worked with me on the programming for this event and hugely helpful. And then Brian Jaffe. Is Brian around? There he is, back here in the corner, right behind the light that is blinding me. And Brian really came from Nationwide and really instilled and held the rest of the programming committee really honest to the fact of, here's what brands want to hear, right? And a big part of what brands want to hear is, at least as communicated through Brian, is a sense of kind of connection and the ability to identify with other people on the brand side who are dealing with some of the same challenges, which are, hey, we recognize that you guys in email have done a good job. Take a look at all these other channels and help us figure out how to work with that. And basically do more, connect with our consumers, drive more value, but we're not going to give you any more money or resources to do that. And that's a fairly lonely place. And so part of what we wanted to do in bringing this group together is to say, look, let's look at some of the challenges that are facing us and put together the best speakers and panelists that we can to address some of those issues. And so to that end, in building on the social theme, wanted to start off with Cam Balzer from Threadless, who has really been part of a company that has been social before social media was kind of cool. And so he's going to be talking about that and being a social brand and how he has led that effort at Threadless. We're going to be getting into one of the bigger debates going on in our industry, and really excited for this, which is, we know that we're going to send more and more and more email, but the question is, when should you stop sending email to folks? And so we have some very passionate people who are going to be talking about that topic of when is it time to actually just say goodbye to your customers and dealing with some of the nuances of that. Also wanted to just talk about the idea of how do we go about, we know we need to drive relevance. We know we need to drive relevance across channels. And this morning we'll also be digging into two aspects of that. One from kind of a management side. And so there are two case studies that I'm really excited about. Bradford Johnson is coming from Overstock, and he'll be sharing about some of the efforts that they're going on and talking with him earlier, just how they've restructured some of their efforts at Overstop to really drive relevance across channels and to be more coordinated in how they're reaching out to consumers. So that'll be interesting. And then also Adrian Olvera from Dell, somewhere out here, will be talking about how they've pushed some programs through to really drive relevance and integrate behavioral information into their messaging strategies. And then last but not least on this topic of integrating and building relevance, we'll be hearing this morning from a group of panelists talking about the technology behind that and some of the decisions going on. And I'll tell you when it hit me is when a client recently, we were talking about their email program, and they're really looking at a bunch of different platforms and which one was the right one for them. And as soon as their SVP of marketing came to me and said, I just learned that our warehouse management and fulfillment software package now has an email module. Would you please evaluate this as our, to be our ESP instead of a traditional ESP? I knew that it was kind of on. Everybody's getting into the email space, and if you look at ESPs, they're getting into every other business. So there's a huge kind of meshing of all these communication channels happening right now that we're living through and having to wade through. So we'll be hearing from panelists talking about that decision and some of the challenges there. So, and then obviously we have, we get to do it all again tomorrow and have some fun this afternoon. So, so with that, and I guess one last thing is just to say, these topics that we'll be hearing on the panelists will also have time to sit around and chat about. So, as one of these becomes, kind of piques your interest, there will be round tables here just before lunchtime or during lunchtime. I forget exactly how the scheduling works on that, but to just be able to sit and chat and talk and connect with other people and deal with people who are asking some of the same questions you are. So that should be a good time of Q&A and connection to help drive the community in the sense of community here that we've had. So. Thank you. I don't have slides, no. But with that, I wanted to lead off and introduce our opening keynote speaker. Cam Balzer is the CMO at Threadless, as I mentioned earlier, and has really been a dynamic leader there, and talking with some of the other members of the team, I know is very well respected and loved amongst his team, and well respected and loved amongst the industry for sort of the vision and the passion that he brings to this space and the amazing perspective he has on the socially minded consumer. So with that, I would like to bring up Cam Balzer. Thank you very much.